Hello, my name is Grace Kim. I'm 27 years old, and I've known I'm gay since I was 4 years old. Even though I grew up in liberal San Francisco, I grew up in a very religious, conservative Asian household, and it was pretty much my own version of a post-apocalyptic world devoid of any hope. Without the zombies. I was so scared of letting my secret out that I went selectively mute from ages 4 to 24. I didn't talk unless it was to request basic needs like food and water. I miserably just trudged along through my young life without any motivation whatsoever. My teachers took my lack of motivation to complete my assignments as an inability to and put me in special and slow learners classes. It's really hard being told you're the dumb kid from such an early age. This was me as before. I'm pretty depressing, right? High school didn't get any better. I listened to a lot of the Smiths, and it made me really, really depressed and emo, more so. And they say we should keep kids away from violent video games and music, or drugs and alcohol, but seriously, the music kind of messed me up. I pretty much had a death wish, and I seriously had no regard for my safety. I would do anything that would let me feel something. I would buy drugs off of homeless men on Craigslist. I would drive at 120 miles per hour with my eyes closed. I would sneak into any building I could find and just try to go onto the ledge and stand there and just feel something. And nothing ever worked. I was hoping college would be better, but I wasn't any different. It was just my environment that was different, so I got the same results. I somehow fell into the world of professional poker during college. My freshman year winter break, I borrowed $60, my sister's ID, and went to the local casino and turned that $60 into $6,000. And it sent me on a really whirlwind journey through the world of professional poker for about 5 years. I was trying to reach this level of success that I was striving for my entire life. I grew up with Asian immigrant parents, and they instilled in me that success in life meant monetary success. But here I was, as a young kid, with a BMW, a luxury condo, and my local casino's car dealers called me Kid Genius because of my ability to make thousands of dollars a night. And that was such a stark difference for me because I was the dumb kid my entire life. But nothing made me happy anyway. I even lost the motivation to take out the trash in my house, and eventually my whole luxury apartment was just covered in rotting garbage, and I slept in it because I thought I was the same. I even lost the motivation to play poker, and I thought the only solution in life was to kill myself. I remember looking at the concoction of pills in my hand and trying to remember the best day of my life. There really was none. I found it really sad that this was my life, that there was no single day that I enjoyed. So I told myself I would have one last day to be the best day of my life. I figured I owed it to myself. I didn't do anything special in particular. I spent the day gallivanting around the city of San Francisco. I rode a cable car for the first time, even though I lived in San Francisco my entire life. And I remember just looking up at the sky and just thinking it was so beautiful that day. And then it hit me. The sky always looks the same. The sky is always beautiful. It was just me that was different that day. I went into the day wanting it to be the best day of my life. And so it was. And I could appreciate something as simple as a beautiful sky. I decided that I wanted to try to go into every day like this, so I created a little experiment for myself. And I read somewhere on Tumblr or Facebook or something that if you do something for 100 days, it becomes habit. And obviously, everything on the internet is true, so I created this 100-day project where I would have the best day of my life every single day. Volition is a choice or decision made by the will. Your imminent volition is when you first think of an idea to carry out an action. Your predominant volition is your imminent volition your brain always goes to because it likes to fire the same neurons and carry out the same actions over and over again. You might have some habits that you don't particularly like, but you don't know why you do it. It's because your predominant volition controls your actions. And it's probably because when you first were met with that decision, you probably acted a certain way, and depending on how you did it the first way, your body probably goes back to that every single time. I decided to challenge my predominant volitions because it made me a selectively mute, obese loner without any friends and experiences, and I wanted to be the person I've always wanted to be. So every time I was met with a decision, I just thought of what ideal Grace would do, and I forced myself to do it. After 100 days, I lost close to 100 pounds. I made the best friends I could ever ask for. I finally built a relationship with my family, and I just became this person I was really proud of. And I decided to take this new persona and test it out, so I got this job as a social instigator for an LGBT women's singles mixer. So pretty much what that meant was every week about 30 single lesbians would join me at like an event or a bar, and I would make sure they had a good time. That didn't last very long. About 2 months in, I was throwing a roller skating meetup at an abandoned church, and yeah, this is real. And I remember sitting there just thinking about how different my life was. I used to sit in church and think about how ashamed I was for being a sinner and how I was going to hell. But now I'm throwing singles mixers and I'm surrounded by 30 roller skating lesbians. As I was sitting there, I saw the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my entire life. And guess what? I quit that job and married her. Right there. I decided that I could no longer do a job that I didn't believe in. I enjoyed my job, playing poker a little bit, but it didn't mean anything to me because I would just wake up in the morning, play some poker, and not feel anything, and then just go back to sleep, and my whole purpose in life became just making more and more money. So I started my dream company, Best Day Project. It started out by me writing out all the things I've ever wanted to do, everything I didn't allow myself to do as a selectively mute loner, and I put them in a jar, pulled them out at random, and forced myself to do it, whatever it was, while documenting my experience on my website. And so sharing my story and giving those who need a message of hope that it is possible. This is my first time speaking in front of anyone today, actually, and it was because this was a task in one of my... Thank you. Now I'm trying to help others and give away people's biggest dreams. My website asks you, what's the one thing you've always wanted to do? And for every 5,000 submissions I get, I give it away. So I'm kind of like a professional genie, but I don't know how I managed this, but I got my wife and my best friend to quit their job and join me on this journey. Even though I have no idea where this is going, I just know I believe in it wholeheartedly. I enjoy it. I love this time I get to spend with them, and I know we're going to be okay. I didn't realize just how much I had changed until about less than 2 months ago. I was getting ready for a night out with my friends, and I was heading to my car when a loud boom thundered through the air, and shrapnel flew into the sky. Except it wasn't shrapnel, it was a body. I saw a silver sedan speed off, and behind it was a young girl with her shoes 50 feet from each other. I didn't know how to introduce myself to the mangled body of a girl bleeding profusely from her head. I said, "Hi, I'm Grace. I'm from San Francisco. You don't know me, but I fucking care about you and you're gonna be okay. Everyone you love is on their way, and until then, I'm gonna be your best friend and love you, so just hold on for me a little longer." And as soon as the words escaped my mouth, she started breathing and fighting to survive, and I knew it was life or death. I thought she would die right in front of me, but I couldn't believe I was in this situation where I was talking to her and her life depended on my voice, and my voice mattered. Me, I was selectively mute my whole life, and I had to talk her through it, and it was just so surreal. When I got to her, there was a small pool of blood by her head, and it was just growing and growing and growing, and by the time they took her away, it was 3 feet long and too wide for any human to survive. But she did, and I'm so proud of that fact. If this happened to me about 3 years ago, I probably would have called the cops and, just waited around and, I don't know, just been a bystander, like how I've always been a bystander in life. And this time, when you're in that situation, you don't have any time to think. You kind of just go back to basic instinct, and my basic instinct was to be a kind human being who tried their best, and I was able to produce unconditional love for this person in the brief moments we interacted. And she's alive. It's a miracle, honestly. Everyone said no, she shouldn't have survived, but something happened. It was a miracle. There you go. Thank you. My point I want you to take away from this today is, if you can dream it, you can do it. I'm totally kidding, No. My point is, you can really condition your predominant volition to be the person you've always wanted to be. I promise. If you're not actively trying to be the person you've always wanted to be, you're going to let a lot of opportunities slip by. Maybe that girl you've been pining after would finally go out with you if you just asked her. Maybe you'd be a rock star, if you only picked up that guitar. Maybe you could have everything you've ever wanted if you just decided to be the person you want to be today. So, let me ask you a question. What's the one thing you've always wanted to do? Thank you.